Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Kathy Flannery, Vice President and Chief at Shepherd Pratt. The Shepherd Pratt Schools are part of the largest private nonprofit provider of behavioral health services in the country. Our schools across the state of Maryland provide a safe, supportive environment where students with complex emotional, behavioral, intellectual, and/or mental health needs can learn and grow. I am thrilled to share a conversation with two outstanding leaders from our schools today. Amanda Link, Manager of Behavior Services, and Lauren Nihas, Manager of Educational Services. They are both part of a dedicated interdisciplinary team that focuses on standardized practices and shared language across our network of 10 specialized special education schools across the state. Amanda and Lauren help us build a stronger, more unified community of support for students with diverse needs, and their work has had a transformative impact on our schools, our students, and their families. Today, we'll hear about their journeys, what it's like to build a career in special education, and how our teams support both students and staff through compassionate, evidence based care. So let's get ready to dive in. Hello, Lauren and Amanda.
Hello.
Hi, Kathy.
So, my first question will be for both of you, but I'll have Lauren start. Can you each share the journey that led you to Shepherd Pratt?
Sure. So I graduated from college with a bachelor's in psychology, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do next, but I knew that I wanted a career in a helping profession. So I was drawn to Shepherd Pratt because I knew about Shepherd Pratt's reputation for helping people. So I just applied for a few entry level positions to secure a job while I really figured out what was next for me.
Great. How about you, Amanda?
Similarly, I mean, from a young age, I knew I wanted to be a helper, and I specifically wanted a job that involved helping children. I originally thought I majored in psychology and art history in college and really thought I was going to be an art therapist. And when I was in graduate school for clinical psychology doing my practicum, I found myself a little bit frustrated with some of the limitations of this kind of outpatient model where I was seeing preschool children for sessions once or twice a week. And I just found myself wishing I could be in the classroom with them. And I thought, yeah, what a way to have an impact on their lives, and that would provide them with so much more support. So, someone in my master's program was working in what was then known as the Forbush Preschool in Towson, right here on the Towson campus. So, just like Lauren, I applied for an entry level job, and that kicked off my journey.
Awesome. That was actually the same for me. So, my next question is for you, Amanda.
hmm
What has driven you to take on new roles at Shepherd Pratt?
I've been really, really fortunate to work with and for people who empower me to pursue new challenges. In the past few years, I found a lot of joy and fulfillment in mentoring and coaching. I think, though, that I'll always need to have some direct contact with students to feel fulfilled. And I'm really fortunate that my current role allows me to do both at the same time. So I get to have direct contact with students, work with them on an individual level, and shape and support big picture ideas that are very much aligned with innovative practices in our field.
That's great. And Lauren, what's inspired you to stay at Shepherd Pratt for 16 years?
So initially, I was offered an educational assistant position as that entry level job that I did accept. And I thought that was temporary, but then I met the students and got to know them and realized I was really where I was meant to be. So that kind of, drove me to pursue a full career in special education. I really value opportunities for learning and pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. Each time I got really comfortable and was like, oh, I need to stretch myself, I need to do something new or different. Shepherd Pratt had opportunities, whether it was professional development, helping me further my education, or taking on a new role. I was able to grow when I was ready to do so. And lastly, I was really fortunate to work with some amazing supervisors who supported me and encouraged me along the way.
Great. So I spoke a little bit during the intro about how you're both part of a transdisciplinary team, and I'm curious, given that you, Amanda, specialized in behavior services, and then you and Lauren in educational services, how those roles work together to support the schools.
Yeah. Well, Amanda and I always like to say that instruction and behavior are opposite sides of the same coin. They really complement each other and really can't have one without the other, right? Um, and we've worked together to, try to incorporate behavioral supports in instruction, because when students are accessing instruction and they're engaged, they're going to have both academic and behavioral progress.
Did you have anything to add, Amanda?
Just that I think so often people have this assumption that if you're a behavior team member, that you are just there to run to crises and put out fires. And like Lauren said, you can't get behavior reduction without skill building. And I think the more that we are aligned in that direction, people feel confident, staff feel confident, they feel more comfortable, and students thrive.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All right, so Amanda, what does standardizing behavior programming mean for our students and staff?
So it's this tricky thing, right? Because students come to us because they had such specific needs that weren't being met in their previous schools. But we have this kind of capacity to have more robust foundational supports. So standardization, I think one of the biggest, kind of the most powerful things about it is that we have a shared language. And that kind of common shared language helps us, the adults working in the schools, communicate more effectively, to be on the same page and pull in the same direction. And when adults are on the same page, the students are going to benefit. And that's what we're aiming for.
So you mentioned something about capacity earlier in your response. We have been building, as you know, our bench of board certified behavior analysts.
Yes.
So I'm curious how you support staff who are seeking their BCBA or other types of professional growth in the behavior fields.
So I've never gotten to the point where I have felt like I'm done learning. And so any opportunity I have to go to a conference, learn about something new, I find that really exciting and professionally fulfilling. And I really try to model and encourage that same curiosity in staff who are interested in learning or furthering their skill set. In terms of supporting them specifically, if a staff member comes to me and they're on the fence, is this something, do I want to maybe go back to school? Is this something that I want to invest the time in? I tell them exactly what I tell myself, which is that time is passing either way. I completed all of my BCBA coursework working full time. I later did my counseling coursework while working full time. You might feel like it's going to take too long to be worth it. But again, time is passing either way. We might as well learn and grow during that time.
Excellent point. So this question is for both of you. How do you balance standard instruction with unique school needs? Amanda, I don't know if you would like to start. Okay.
I think it's really understanding what is at the foundation of our schools, from my perspective, our behavioral identity and philosophy. There should be standards there, right? And then we build on those standards based on what a unique student population or a specific student within that population might need.
Good. Thank you. Lauren, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think something our educational services team has really focused on is that balance of standardization and meeting each school's needs. And the way we talk about it is making sure that we're intentional in collecting data and really listening to school leaders before we make any decisions. We really want a clear picture so that we can determine which practices need to be standardized and are best to standardize, and then how to support each individual school.
So Lauren, what resources do you find make the most difference for our staff?
I would say that the people that are in our school buildings, the people on our school operations team are our greatest resource. We have experts on staff who are continually collaborating to meet the complex needs of our students. So our classroom teachers and our staff have a team of people supporting them. They're not alone. And if a teacher gets stuck, there's someone in their building, they can reach out to their speech pathologist, their occupational therapist, a counselor, a behavior specialist, to really help them, help our students make progress.
So sort of an extension to that question, can one or both of you share a time where teams collaborated to make a specific impact?
Lauren, do you want me to jump in and talk about our Empowered Living group? So Lauren and I have been partnering with a speech therapist, an occupational therapist, and a transition coordinator at one of our school sites to kind of build out this curriculum for students who are getting ready for post-secondary life. And we're calling it our Empowered Living Group. And the goal there is for students to really develop a strong understanding of their needs, their preferences, their strengths, to kind of help them prepare. And so without that kind of interdisciplinary support, I just don't think that the content would be as rich or comprehensive.
Yeah, I got a sneak peek at some of the resources and materials that have been prepared with that group, and they look incredible. It's going to be exciting when it contributes to our kids that are on the certificate track to
Yes.
earn all the requirements they need to graduate. So, Amanda, how do you manage a healthy work-life balance?
So this is a tricky question for me because I really like what I do. So there are times that continuing to work can feel easier than resting. But that said, there's a cost to that, right? So rest needs to be non-negotiable to sustainably stay in this field. And I think the biggest thing I try to remember is that each day is not going to be an even 50-50 split. There are going to be times that work in terms of demands and successes and challenges gets more than 50% of my time and resources and energy. And there's going to be times that my personal life does. And I think really looking at that big picture and finding that kind of delicate balance in that big picture is the most important thing.
Lauren, did you have anything to add to that?
I don't think so. I like how Amanda said it's not 50-50. It changes day to day, week to week. And I'm in a similar boat with liking what I do. So putting in some extra time doesn't always feel like work.
Mhm.
So, Lauren, what career paths are available within our schools and across the organization?
So, Shepherd Pratt hospitals, schools, and community services offer a variety of career paths. But specifically within the schools, there's an educational pathway where EAs or educational assistants have opportunities for growth. A lot of times, our teachers are promoted from within, so they could become a teacher, and then a curriculum instruction assessment coordinator, and even a school administrator. That's kind of the path that I followed. And then there's a pathway for behavior. So our educational assistants could have the opportunity to become an assistant behavior specialist and then a school behavior specialist. And then in those entry-level positions, you're also exposed to related service providers. So people can decide if they want to pursue education in order to become, a speech language pathologist, occupational therapist, a counselor. So there's really a ton of opportunities. And I think it's a really good way to kind of, if you're not sure what you want to do yet, figure that out, be exposed to all these different disciplines. But what's also really great is that if there's not openings in one specific school, there might be an opportunity in another one of our schools, and staff can apply for a transfer and find the best fit. And they also have people to guide them that are working across schools that can say, oh, hey, you could check out this assistant behavior specialist position over at another school. And I think Amanda and I have both facilitated some of those opportunities.
That's great. So while we were waiting to hop on live, I thought of a little fun fact. Like among the three of us, I think we have like a combined 55 or 56 years of experience. And we all started as an entry-level one-to-one or EA. So lots and lots of opportunity in the organization. We're the perfect example of that. So I'm curious if either of you have an example of a time you helped a colleague explore a career path they were interested in.
I love to talk to people about behavior analysis and anything related to it. I'm very passionate about it. So when people seem to when their kind of way of interacting with students seems to jive with that, I really try to kind of cultivate that curiosity and help them seek further education or training. We recently had a staff member who was an assistant behavior specialist at one of our school locations. She's getting ready to finish up her supervision hours. She's going to be fully certified in a fairly short period of time. We're very excited. And I knew that there were no roles for her to move into, any promotional roles for her to move into at her current school. And I knew, we can't lose her. She's fantastic. So being in multiple places, as Lauren said, we're kind of aware of where the openings are. And she's now been promoted. She's a school behavior specialist at a different school location, and she is making such a difference. And I'm so thrilled that we were able to make that happen for her.
That's awesome. How about you, Lauren?
I also have an example. I was observing a classroom teacher on one of our campuses, and she was really phenomenal and expressed interest in, new opportunities. And there wasn't a curriculum coordinator position available at that specific school, but there was at one of our other schools. And so I ended up talking to her about that. She ended up applying and getting the promotion. And she's still there as a curriculum coordinator, doing a fantastic job. But now she's also pursuing her certification in school administration. So hopefully she continues to grow her career with Shepherd Pratt Schools.
Yeah, those are two stories that really make my heart happy because I know both of the employees that you guys are referring to. So this last question, I have two more, and it will be for both of you to respond to. What makes this a rewarding place to work?
I'm happy to start. By the time students get to us, school has not been a positive place experience for them, right? And we recently, Lauren and I were co-training some new staff, and we asked one of our current students if he would be willing to share with new staff what we do differently and why it's been helpful for him. And he said that at his previous school, he would kind of act out. He'd be put in a quiet room. And it sounds like from his perspective, at least, he was not provided with the supports he needed. So I said, well, what's different about our school? And he said, you guys calm things down. You guys calm down a situation. And I think he had this very powerful realization that the adults at this school were there to support him and to challenge him, but to support him. And it was just hearing that feedback directly from him. I think that resonated. It definitely resonated with me, and I hope it resonated with the new staff. The things we do are intentional, and they really do have an impact.
Yeah, that's really powerful message from a student. How about you, Lauren?
Yeah, I think this definitely aligns with the story Amanda has shared. But just knowing that we're making a difference in the lives of our students and their families is very rewarding. But then when challenges arise, because there are tough days, there are other people who are driven by the same mission, who want to help these students, and we can lean on one another. So there's a really great community of people to support each other in the work that we're doing.
Great. So what advice would you give future candidates?
I can start this one. So I think my best advice is if you're not sure what you want to do, but you know that you want to work in a helping profession, to just kind of put yourself out there and explore, maybe get your foot in the door somewhere, because you might end up really finding your passion. I started as an educational assistant thinking that it was a very temporary situation. And then 16 years later, have found, my lifelong career. So I think just put yourself out there.
Amanda?
I totally agree. And, as I kind of said, I'm always happy to talk about the career options. I get really excited about the ways that behavior analysis and counseling can make students' lives better. So, and that's going to be the same for speech therapists, occupational therapists in your building. If you have an interest in that area, or you're considering becoming a teacher, talk to the people within your building, and you will find that they are, I think, very excited to talk to you about growing in your options.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. And I love both your stories and have been honored and privileged to work alongside you for all these years. So I want to thank you both so much for sharing your stories and insights with us today. It's really inspiring to see how your dedication and collaboration make such a difference with our students and the staff. So for anyone watching, we hope this conversation gave you a behind the scenes look at what it means to grow and thrive in a career in special education. Please consider joining our community of schools. Whether you join at an entry level or at a more experienced role, we'll be committed to supporting your growth through a generous tuition assistance package and several career path opportunities. Please visit the link in the comments to explore current opportunities and see how you can make an impact in Shepherd Pratt Schools. Thank you.